How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video from Scrub Games with me, Jamie. Once again, I'm going over, as you can see in the title, doing a further video into my new YouTube series called Cube Draft 101, going over about cube drafting, advice on how to play cube, build cube. Basically just a series dedicated to cube drafting, as you've seen from my post on my Facebook group, on my Facebook page that I spoke about in other videos. It's a format that I really enjoy, and I'm trying to create a series that could help anybody who's interested in the format in DVS to offer them help with their cube, how to build a cube. Just helping you out, because I know if this was available when I first built my cube or started my cube, it'd been really helpful, and I just thought it'd be nice to put this out on my channel to help out anybody who's interested, just like I am. So in the last video, I covered an intro to cube drafting, which basically just went over about what cube drafting is, difference, yada yada yada. And in this video, I decided to go over how to build a cube, as that is one of the first and probably hardest things to do when it comes to cube drafting, is actually building a cube and actually physically building it and coming up with the list. So I'm going to go a few different topics. I split them up into different areas, and what I'm going to do is just hopefully for this video is just go over how to build a cube and some advice to help with that. So the first thing I thought of about cube is, what is your aim and reason to build a cube? So to give an example, from mine, the reason that my aim and reason to build a cube was the reason was because I really enjoy cube drafting. I did it for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think I did a bit for Final Fantasy TCG as well, and it's a format I really enjoy because of how you don't have a pre-constructed deck. Like, you don't go against the same deck over and over again. You get given a certain amount, certain cards, or by picking them yourself, and you've got to build a deck using that. And one of the things I enjoy from playing TCGs is deck building and deck theory. So I've thought up and built probably hundreds of decks in multiple games, and I really enjoy building decks, putting them together and trying them out. That's one of my favourite things, probably even a bit more than actually playing them and testing them. And the aim that I brought my aim for building cube was to play the format, enjoy the format, and introduce others to the format. And I'm finding it very fun, very fulfilling. As I said before multiple times in my other videos, I've got a cube draft tournament I do every week on a Sunday. I do it as a league, where everybody chips in with a pound, because I'm from the UK, and that basically just goes all into a pot for the league to basically reward at the end of the season the players with the most points. And then I designed it so everybody gets a point for entering, and then for every win anybody gets, they get an extra point, and then make sure the points don't go out of hand. Because of how Untap is, it's limited to 8 people per tournament. So we're doing a pod. If there's more than that, we can do it in different pods. And the maximum points you can get is 4, but the minimum you can get is at least 1 point. So at least for entering, you get 1 point spotting yourself in the league, and you can get a maximum of 4. But of course, it's only for a win if you get a point. So if you lose or draw, you don't get a point. But then so far there's been nothing really negative from doing it and from introducing everybody to it, from introducing people to it. Everybody's participated in my cube drafting tournaments I've done. I've really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the format, even they've all come back for more. like well, depending on the each person's life, because everybody's got things outside of the game that might prevent them. But anytime they are available to do it, they jump back in to participate again, and everybody's enjoyed it. And no one's ever built the same deck. Like, there's always been different decks, and it's always been enjoyable. And that is the aim. And one thing that I aim to do was basically just I enjoyed the format, so I decided to build it to actually play, and also introduce other people to it to see just basically give people an option of what different formats there is. Like, it's not an official format, but it's a fun, casual kind of format that I've introduced, because I know there are some players that enjoy different formats. So I know Magic's got multiple formats. Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got different formats. Like, it's got goat format. It used to have traditional and things like that. And because it's also probably another reason for me as well is sometimes I get a bit bored of the regular meta. Like, if there's a deck just like back when we had as I said before, when we had set 8, it was just like a triangle format. It was just counterplay central. I wasn't really enjoying playing. It felt more luck based on what people hit, and I wasn't liking it, so I took the time out. And if I had this during then, it would probably been a nice thing just to keep you playing the game so they come back. It could be a nice thing to keep you playing the game, and also just playing the game and enjoying myself without having to playing the standard format that I wasn't enjoying. But that's one thing I would advise for anybody building a cube, is to think about your reason why you want to participate in cube, what you enjoy about the cube, and what your aim would be if you built this off a cube. Because building a cube is not necessarily cheap. Like, you can build different kinds of cubes. Like, for mine, I just try to build it as generic as possible, so that way you can build a deck using literally anything in there, and that way no two decks are ever the same, and limited to a Highlander sort of cube as well. So there's only one copy of each card in the cube, so that way it's not at least that way you safely know that all the cards in your cube are just in your card pool after drafting are just yours, and you won't expect it. So it gives you a peace of mind, and also it means that it's more interesting on deck building then as well. But yeah, as I said, you want to put an aim set before physically building a cube. But as you're probably aware after my other videos, is on Untap you can play it as well. Like, I know a lot of people don't enjoy Untap, but it's another way to play it, especially during this time as well, to actually play it, enjoy it without actually putting any physical cost onto it. But then once you figured out what your aim and reason for building a cube, the next thing you want to focus on is building rules. So for some of the rules I do think should be always considered for the cube is the first one would be to put in the same number of cards from each of the colors. So for Dragon Ball, there's 5 colors, but then there's at the moment, Black at the moment now is sort of his own color. For a cube, I would advise for Black to be more of a support color, just because some things with the black cards require either a black leader, or, well, you can build it how you like, but I aim to put the same number of cards from each of the main 4 original colors. So red, blue, yellow, and green always have the same number of cards from each of those colors in the cube, because it gives a bit of balance when it comes to color combinations. And if you want to add the multicolored cards as well, I would also recommend not to have too many multicolored cards, but also have all the multicolored cards the same color combination, because otherwise it makes some color combinations more a lot stronger if you've got more cards in one type of multicolor than the others, which I experienced in my first draft of the cube, where I had red and blue, and green and red didn't have as many cards as some of the others. and it made for less cards, less decks in that kind of color, where the other color combinations were stronger. Another rule, probably a second rule, that I would advise to follow when building a deck is you should at least have a certain amount of cards times the number of players. So like you want to if when you're building a cube, you want to figure out how many players you want to limit have participating in when using the cube draft, or how many players you can get for it. Like, for example, I set myself to having an 8 max, so like set up to the maximum that can be drafted with is 8 people, and because that's easily divided by 2 to go down to 4 players, down equally down to 6 for 2 players, and then you want at least a certain amount of cards times that number of players. So with mine, I set it to, as I've said before in the last video, I try to make it similar to the packs and cards to how you would do a pre-release, where you get 6 packs, and in each of those packs is 12 cards. So I set that, so so it's 6 packs of 12 cards for up to 8 players, because then you can at least draft it then with 8 players. So I put that giving me a total up to 8 players. So I have a decent size pool, and then if you have less than that, it gives you even bigger card pools, going like a bit bigger to 6, double what you would have for 4, and then literally half each for if you're just going 2 people playing. And then probably the third rule would be to focus more on having battle cards than having unisons, extras, and stuff like that. This is because mainly the main way you're probably going to play the game is with battle cards. Like thinking about mine, I set it to run about like 10 to 15 extra cards, because some of the generic extra cards, depending on what themes and archetypes you're going to play, which we're going to go over later or in a bit in this video, require certain color leaders and things. But as we get more cards coming out with new sets, you can always modify the cube as it goes on. And like with unisons, in my current list I've got 5 in each, but I've just decided with unisons I have not gone over I've not included a unison that has a specified cost of 2 or more, depending on certain things it has. So the only unison I have in my cube that is more than a 2 specified cost is Metacooler, the Terrifying Horde, the green promo, and that's because unlike some of the other ones that are, and I think I also have the baby unison from set 11. I need to double check, but I'm sure I have that in there. And the reasons for those is because 3 of like one color isn't too bad to be able to play a card, but their power isn't too busted, so you have to put so your opponent's not draining too many resources to try and get rid of it. So like they're both 15Ks, so all it takes is for an Awakened Leader to swing it. Most battle cards to swing it, and it puts it on the same par as the 2 costs, but then the 2 costs it just makes it so you, unlike with a unison has 20k power, where unisons have markers on, and it takes a certain amount of swings to get over it. And not many cards have, or there's normally higher costing cards that have things that double strike and stuff to take multiple markers on. And when it's more than 15k, it's a lot harder to manage. Or at least if it's a 15k for the free specified cost ones, they got more lives, but then they're not as overprotected, being a higher power. But that's just a personal choice for me, because we did, as I've probably gone over in one of the old series I did. Was Sin Shenron, the red Sin Shenron unison wasn't included, was taken out of my cube, just because in combination with the Vegeta Baby promo red leader, it was too powerful, because it just gave you free board wipe every turn with a combination of leader. and it was hard to remove because it comes in with we'll have to use an effect to remove 2 things, or up to 2 things. It's got 4 life, and on 20k that's quite hard to get rid of, along with negates and other like things like blockers to protect it. And it just meant that as soon as you drop down, that's game over, and it didn't cost that much. And then so that's why I've dedicated more to just having 2 specified costs for each color, or 1, and only 3 specified costs depending on certain depending on the card really. But that's the main rules I focus on. Like for my multicolors as well, I think I've got a limit of 14 for each one, and I've checked it to make sure there's around about 3 of each color that can rival to make it fair for the so no color has more rival than the others, and at least some of the mechanic of each dual color is in there. Like there is some Aegis in blue yellow in the cube, there's an Alliance, there is Revival, a Successor, Invoker, Offering, things like that. All the mechanics for each dual multicolor is in the cube as well, so you get basically the full nice effects of everything. But those are the main focus on building when starting to build a cube. And then next topic would be, what cards do I include? This is all dependent on how you want to build the cube. I'm sure if anybody's come from Magic, some people build it on certain sets. Like like with a cube, you can build it however you want. You can build it as a pauper cube, so nothing higher than like just all rares and uncommons in the cube. Like you have unisons and stuff. I think you have cards of all different types that are coming common, uncommon. So that's one thing you can do. You can do a pauper cube. You can even put up to rare, so that nothing higher than rare is included in your cube, which gives you which makes it a lot cheaper for yourself. You can have it a cube based on a format, so like you can have a cube based on the SS3 format we had when it was. You can run SS3, so you can have just the leaders SS3. The only leaders in the cube is SS3, and in the cube draft, and you can have then the cards that we're using, so you can build like yellow, blue, green kind of thing. You can do it on everything, but you can do it however you like. You can put certain themes in and stuff. What you include in the cube and how many of each card you include is entirely up to you. Like as I said, I kept it to 1 copy of each card, just to make it so nothing was too fussy. Because we got to remember with the cube is the power level is different of each card is different to the current meta. Like if you have a look at things like for example, the yellow Bardock Ape, that's not as strong in the cube as it would be in the normal format, just because there's only 1 copy of it. You've got to draw it, so it's not consistent to draw it as easily, and you've got to draft your yellow leader as well. So what I mean, you might find it and think, oh, that's a really strong card, and take it. You've then got to 1, draw it in your deck if you include it, and 2, be able to find and pick a yellow leader. And same with Sugesh as well. Sugesh is a very strong card, very strong super combo, but if you're unable to draft any good 3 cost or less Saiyans to make as full, like as much use in it as possible, then it's not gonna be as strong. But then there is still the potential that it could be not so great when you draft it, or amazing when you draft it. But to help you decide what cards you want to include in your cube, you want to also think of themes and archetypes. So there's multiple different ways you can do it. Like with it, like for example, one of the probably key themes or key archetypes that everybody's going to include in the cube is the skillless, because that's quite easy to do. So with Draft Box 6, we got some new support. Like you've got the Higher Dragon to help you include 10k vanillas. You've got the Chilled, which is Chilled the Great Saiyaman 2 and the Nimbus Goku that all give skill support. And that's throughout all colors, so that's a really good base for a first archetype to include. Because skillless, they come in a variety of sizes. You get the 1 cost 10k, 2 cost 20k, and 3 cost 30k. They're easy. They're like very strong battle cards. They help, but they put a bit more focus on a certain color as well, which is good. Like, so you can, if you try to draft a monocolor deck, you've got very powerful cards. While you don't have any effects, still good, and you've got ever support as well in it. Like you've got the Android 8 as well that can help you search for them, and ever cards that help with skills. So you've got the Hit as well. Hit's one of my favorite leaders in the cube, and so like you can have leaders dedicated to certain archetypes. Like as I said, Hit with the skillless. You can have Golden Frieza for a Frieza's army archetype. You could have thinking about as well. You can have U11 with Jiren. You can have basically whatever you want, whatever you decide. Like in other archetypes, like one. If you think about mine, like one of the favorite ones I have, the 3 favorite ones that I have in my cube for archetypes are the androids with the cell chain and everything. So that's a very strong one. The cell chain is very good, but if you can't draft it all, then like if you don't see all the pieces, you're not going to have the full chain. So you've got to basically, if you can draft it all, it could be if you draft all the pieces, you can have a very strong deck. But you got to draft enough Android 18s and Android 17s to fully go up it. Or even then, if you don't see anything else, but you've drafted an Android leader and a 7-drop cell, cube games normally go on for quite a long energy because it's not as consistent and it's more like a longer game if you don't build your deck to be aggro enough, like an aggro deck. So you potentially get to turn 7 and hard cast it to the 7-drop after building a board slowly. And then, as I said, skillless is one of my favorite, because as I said as well, I keep saying Hit is one of my favorite cards. Just basically be able to make a really, like in the standard, it's not the best, the Hit leader, but in cube I feel it's a very strong option, and I really enjoy drafting it when I can. And the last archetype I really enjoy that I've put in my cube that I enjoy is the Great Apes, because they can go, because with the new Bardock once it gives more Great Apes to make that made it worth it for, in my opinion, to put March the Great Apes in the cube. So the 4 cost extra card that can play 2 Great Apes from your hand and draw 2. I thought that was quite nice, and with the new Bardock's Crew Blue Ape stuff in Draft Box 6, I added that to my cube, and I haven't been able to draft it yet. I did some testing with my cube. I tried to test it to make sure all my leaders and archetypes were all draftable and were decent when they're drafted. And I managed to build a nice Great Ape deck. But so far from the tournaments, I haven't been able to draft one yet, because it's never got to that point. So far, I haven't seen enough of the cards or the ape stuff normally when we drafting to be able to make one. Those are some of my favourite archetypes I put in the cube, and you can base it on your cube on your own. Like if you really like if you're like me and you really like the old cell chain Android stuff, you can put the Androids in. And the main one, and like even then with in red, you've got the Frost chain as well, which is very strong. You've got the what's it called? The Go Tanks from set 1, the red one. Is one of the cards I love as a finisher for red. Got it's 5 cost, but it's 3 specified red, but it's a very strong card. You can pull it off. Yeah. We want to pick some themes and archetypes to put together just to give you a sense of like a goal. Like you can make the cube like mine as generic as possible with a few themes, or you can make it purely theme based with some multiples of some cards. It's entirely up to you. But one thing you got to focus on is the balance. So as I said, you want to make sure that each of the colors have the same amount of cards. And you can do the same with black as well. You can have black same amount of cards and have black leaders than you want. And personally, for me, I put black as in a support color, like with Overrealm and some generic stuff, just to give it, just so that way you've got some odd bits and ends if you can, because sometimes if you have a full 8, you don't have a straw as like bigger card pools you would if you had 6 players, and the black cards can help mediate between the colours if you're going for 2 but don't want to put in a third. And sometimes you will need to put in a third. It's fun trying to put in a third. It's all about your deck building skills really to make your deck work. But black is more of a support colour, but if you want, you can make it into a independent colour with a leader as well. But yeah, you want to put all the main, at least the main 4 colours with the same amount of cards, and same with the dual colours as well. And with balance as well, you don't have too many busted cards. Like say you don't have like too many of the of each of the cell chain, because otherwise it makes it a lot easier, makes more of a focus. If you have if you don't have enough balance with certain archetypes, then it just after the time it just makes everybody drafting, if they draft regularly, to focus on trying to build that a certain deck instead of trying to build focus on the draft and see what they get to build different decks. Like at the moment, I've been lucky with my cube, in the fact that nobody's basically focused on building the same deck. Everybody's had a different deck each time, different leader, which has kept it fun and fresh and enjoyable. But without a little bit of balance, you might see a focus on people building certain cards, or focusing on certain colours. And to help with that, what you want to do is you want to test it and tweak it. So you can do this multiple ways. You can do it from untapped first, just with people. You can do it either by actually getting people around, using the cube, basically trying it out, trial and error to see how it goes, or you can do it from just drafting the cube yourself, like going on like one thing I did was going on to untap and drafting with a load of bots. Like, well, the bots just do it randomly. Right, what I pick, I just like to see what I pick and then see what the deck is at the end. I did that for like about 50 decks in the end, drafting it multiples of each leader. But no, I didn't have the same decks every time. It's just nice to see if there's any balance, like if certain cards keep getting picked, or a certain or if you keep doing the same, getting the same cards for certain colours, you can split it up. And it also lets you filter out any of the any busted card combinations. Like for example, as I said, first thing I altered when you get to see also busted combinations, like as I said, the Vegeta and Shenron together. That was we found that was a insanely strong in the cube combination, because you just have your leader that's every turn can minus, I think, to -2 cards, and then you have the Shenron, which then comes down it comes straight down with 3 markers, goes up to a 4th to use the effect to clear things, and just every turn you're free clearing up to either 2 25Ks or 2 10Ks and 2 15Ks every turn your bonus board. And while you're just not using any energy to get rid of stuff every turn for free, your opponent's using energy to actually play things down. That then just gets ball wiped quickly. And if you've got everything's to back up, like you're keeping cards to defend that combination where your opponent's investing energy to do things, that if you stop it, then they're losing cards to try and get rid of your they're putting a lot more into it than you. And another thing we switched was we found that the hit leader in green was a bit it's still in dispute, but the hit leader being too good with green was something that was brought up, and what I mean by that was the hit leader in combination with Frieza's Army Healing Pod, where if you don't know what hit does, on his awakened side he's got the effect that's similar to the front side, where when he attacks you get to draw 1 card, gain 5k, and play 1 2-cost or less skillless card from your drop area onto the field. And what Healing Pod does is it's a field card for 1 green. I'm not going to go over, it's got 2 effects, but I'm not going to go over the main effect that counts, that makes it so good with the hit leader. Is once per turn, if you play a green card from your drop area to the field to your battle area, you get to draw 1 card. Like, what's once per turn? It still just means that with the hit leader, for example, you swing with the hit leader, you draw 1 card, so you have +1 from your leader, you gain 5k, so you go to 20k, and then you play, say, a skillless Limo 20k from your drop area. So you've basically, from the leader, just then you've drawn a card, gone 20k, and played a 20k. And then the healing pod will then go, oh, you've just played a green card from your drop area, draw another card, and that's once per turn. So so with the hit, with that combination, with that one fill card, every turn you're getting 2 20k swings because the leader becomes 20k, and you play a 20k skillless card. You get 2 draws, and you just put in a lot of pressure every turn. And if they get rid of the skillless, you just play it out again, and you got ways to get rid of it yourself through I would say, for example, Successor or the Belmont, things like that. If you can swing with it and sack it off and then play it again, or if you've got multiple different skillless and you drop that green, you keep that every turn. They made it a bit strong, so we switched. So we decided to try and switch out just to see. But that combination was never one that was strong. It's still in debate of if it's too busted like the hit Sin was, or if it's not. But doing things like that helps you able to tweak the deck and balance it out and just make it more enjoyable for yourself and everyone. And then the last thing I can say is enjoy it. So once you've built the deck, just enjoy playing with it. Just get it. If you've got locals, to try it out for your locals. See if anybody wants to have a try it. Like I did. Sometimes I've been doing it. Did it a bit for my locals. Made the offer of if anybody wants to do cube draft. We had a few times of it. I mean, it was very enjoyable. And with the tournaments I've been doing on Sundays as well, I've been really enjoyable. And that's basically the proper fine name of it. Is just to enjoy the format. But that's everything I can think of and say about how to build a cube. I hope this has been helpful. I think it's helpful. I hope it is. If there's anything, like I say at the end of every video, is if there's any questions you have that I haven't covered or anything that's not clear regarding anything I've said in the video, just drop a comment below on the video, and I'll respond to it as quick as possible, answer as best I can. And if there's any questions regarding, if you've watched this and you're enjoying cube drafting, you have any questions, and there's anything you want answered in like future videos, just comment down below with it, and I can cover that in a video if need be, or just answer your comment if it's just one question you have. And also subscribe to my channel if you want to keep updated on things like this. One of my main focus for the cube for my channel will be Dragon Ball, both meta, like deck profiles and gameplay videos once I do it, and then cube drafting with this cube drafting series I'm doing, some cube drafting games as well recorded and stuff once I'm able to do it effectively and I'm able to join back up with the real world again and play in person. And lastly, like this video if it was helpful and you liked it. But also, it's been a while now. It's been about half an hour. I don't want to keep it. Like sometimes my videos do quite long. Just gotta try to make sure they're jam packed with information and it's helpful and it's clear. And in the next video, I will, as I said in the last video, I keep saying is this month I'm going to go over. It's mainly going to be covering cube draft. I'm going to keep with the cube draft series just to go over. So I want to get this out so it's there out on YouTube for people to see if they come across it for Dragon Ball. And also if you haven't heard or you don't know, I have made a cube drafting group on Facebook as well. The link to the group is down below. So if you want to join in the conversation about cube draft with other people who want to try or like cube draft, join up and join in the discussion and have fun with it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be for cube drafting as well. So bye for now.